Kendall and I, we have a pretty chilly history, to say the least. That's why I was completely blown away the day of the accident. She was in such a good mood. She even hugged me. She was so excited.
What about? Did she say?
Yes. She said that she was looking forward to having her son. She went from having completely no connection with him to telling me that she would die for her child.
She used those words.
Kendall said that she would give up her life to save her son. That's how much she loves him.
Thank you, Mrs. Chandler. No more questions.
Actually, I visited Kendall this morning, and she wanted me to tell all of you how much she loves her son.
How could she possibly have done that, Mrs. Chandler? Kendall is in a coma.
I asked her to give me a sign, and she did. She moved her finger.
So he steps off the elevator.
Arrested for the attempted murder of Kendall Hart, is that correct?
Yes, he was.
And if he is found guilty, he will be put away for a very long time.
I guess.
If that happens, who will get custody of your son?
I would.
It's possible that the movement detected by Mrs. Chandler in Kendall was nothing more than a spontaneous muscle twitch. Unfortunately, this kind of movement is often interpreted by loved ones as proof that the patient is somehow aware of her surroundings.
But in your professional opinion, that is not the case with Kendall Hart.
Highly unlikely.
I find it highly unlikely that my daughter Kendall would confide in Babe Chandler, of all people. I mean, this is the woman who stole my daughter Bianca's baby. Kendall despises Babe Chandler. She would never confide in her, and she certainly would never embrace her.
What would Mrs. Chandler stand to gain by coming here and lying?
Only control of an entire cosmetics company. Babe Chandler has no experience working anything but a beer tap. She lucked her way into the position at Fusion. And since day one, my daughter Kendall has been her biggest opponent. So by Babe Chandler coming here and urging the court to allow Kendall to continue to carry her baby, she is pushing for my daughter's death so that she can have more control over the company.
That is ridiculous.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Mrs. Chandler says she is here today on behalf of your daughter.
Mrs. Chandler is a lying bitch.
Objections! When the tents go...
I would like to thank you all for your testimony today. I know it's been an emotional morning. We'll take a short recess while I retire to my chambers to make my decision.
All rise.
Hello? You guys still there? Aaron? Oh no. What if you are there and I just can't hear you? What if I'm dying? Spike? Spike, can you hear me? Your mom doesn't want to die. I'm not ready to say goodbye. I want to see my friends again. My family. I have to see Zach one more time. But if this is it, God, if dying is the only way I can save my son, I'm ready to die.
Friday night, maybe we...
I am ready to give my ruling on the matter of the guardianship of Kendall Hart Slater and her unborn child. Is the petitioner here?
We are here, Your Honor.
And Mrs. Slater's husband?
Yes, Your Honor.
At the center of this case are two innocents, mother and child. Certainly in our society, nothing is more sacred. The only obvious thing about this case is that these two lives are loved very much. Our forefathers never intended the judiciary rule on matters best left to scientists and doctors. So in this instance, we must adhere strictly to who has the legal right to make a life-threatening decision. We are not here to judge which decision is more attractive or more compelling. They both are equally so. I doubt very much if anyone will feel like a true winner here. There is no legal precedent. In the absence of a living will, who is to say what the mother's wishes truly are? Each side has what appears to be a legitimate claim to best carry out the patient's wishes. If the patient were conscious, she could tell us what side to come down on. That luxury is not given us here. To delay the decision is to make the decision on behalf of Mr. Slater, the patient's husband. The longer we delay the decision, the more at risk Mrs. Slater will be. The better off the child will be. But there is an element of uncertainty at work here. The medical testimony from Dr. Martin was quite clear. The outcome of neither choice is predestined. All we can fall back on are odds. Odds are, if we take the child from the mother now, the child will be at risk. But that is not a given. If we do not take the child soon, the mother will be at risk. But that is not a given. Thus again, I am urged to stick closely to who has the strictly legal right to make the decision regardless of medical testimony.
Come on, Kendall, wake up.
Is in question. Where intention is not proved, we must look beyond simple common law. Spousal privilege is a long-held right. The husband is legally recognized as the next of kin in a situation such as this one. However, there is a court-ordered custody agreement. Another judge has looked at some of the parties involved and deemed Mr. Lavery the guardian of his yet unborn child. He is not able to carry out the court-ordered guardianship currently. That is why, in this instance, I am ruling that Mr. Lavery's custody order of the child supersedes Mr. Slater's spousal privilege. Ryan Lavery, you are hereby the court-appointed guardian of the above-mentioned principal, Kendall Hart Slater.
We reserve the right to an immediate appeal.
Duly noted. Mr. Lavery, I do not envy your choice. Good luck.
All rise.